Welcome to Rhetoric in Review with your quirky, left-footed host, Walter Winchell.
How you doing? How you doing? Thank you. Welcome to the show. Okay, ladies and gents, welcome to the show. Tonight, we have a real dandy for you folks, as we will be interviewing some of the cast members of the new, highly controversial film, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Now, here's our first guest of the night, the dapper Frank Capra.
Whoa! Yeah!
How you doing,
Whoa! Yeah! Whoa!
Welcome, Frank. I'm absolutely delighted to have you and your immense bravado on the show here tonight.
Thank you, I'm pleased to be here, me and my bravado. You're also looking rather fresh tonight.
Thank you. So, let's get down and dirty with the nuts and bolts of this film. Let's take this movie over, rhetorical style.
Yeah!
Okay. For the love of Pete, how did you come up with such a great idea for this movie?
Well, you see, it's an amazing story, really. You see, the original script for the movie belonged to another director and was supposed to be the sequel to the movie.
Wow!
Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. I know.
Oh my gosh.
Before they could start up the production, though, they found out that the main actor was unavailable for this sequel. It was very upsetting.
Interesting.
So they gave me the rights to the movie. I fixed it up to suit my needs and also brought in my game changers, Gene and Jimmy.
And those would be Gene Arthur and Jimmy Stewart, I suppose?
Of course.
Okay.
Columbia gave me the chance, and I think I made the most of it. Not to mention, I made Jimmy a major star.
Yes, by golly, I would say you did. So tell me, why did you arrange the scenes the way you did? Are they put together in any specific order?
Well, I wanted the film to be very easy to follow for everyone who watched it. I wanted to show the development of round characters such as Saunder, who will be on the show later, and Mr. Smith, who will also be on the show later.
Yes.
I also wanted to give the viewers a good idea of how the Senate works. Most of all, to really show how strong the political machine really is, and how not everything in Washington is as great as it seems. I thought you'd like that one, Walter.
That's a knee slapper, man. It's about as funny as paint drying on a wall. Anyways, yeah, I gotta say, when I was watching the film, I was very impressed how you portrayed political corruption in Washington. Caught a lot of flack for this in Washington, though. Did you not?
Oh yeah, they were very unwelcoming of my film in Washington. It premiered at Constitution Hall in D.C. October 17th of last year, 1939. I thought since it was a political piece and was premiering in the Capitol, I might as well invite a few senators, 45 of them to be exact.
Wow, that's a lot.
I gave them free admission, food, drink, everything.
Okay.
In the middle of the feature, I saw some commotion, and I see a few of them just sleeping in the middle of the thing. Very upsetting.
Boo. I could see. I'm sure that made you so happy.
Oh jeez, I was fuming. And then I wake up the next morning, grab the paper of the Washington Press, and all the dirty scumbags that I had personally invited were criticizing the film. Those dirty scumbags. They were saying all this crazy stuff. Oh, it is pro-communist, and it is anti-American.
Okay. This is very true. I mean, I heard that myself when I was reading the Inquirer. So, I also heard they banned it over in many of the European countries because, you know, it portrays liberty and freedom of speech, you know, things that Adolf Hitler and Mussolini, they were like, say that stuff, you know. So, even though there were the usual critics of the movie, it seems to me that the public overall took a liking to it. Wouldn't you say so, folks?
Yeah!
Okay.
Thank you. It is because of you and the folks that we won the Academy Award for Best Original Story and was named New York Times one of the best films of 1939.
Ha! Thank you. That makes us and all the audience here feel good, doesn't it?
And it does.
Okay. So, sorry for holding you up here so long, but let's get back to this rhetorical talk now. Alright, Bull. Alright. So, what were you trying to accomplish through the set and loading of this movie?
Well, all the scenes in Washington were made to seem as realistic as possible. We made the whole Senate floor exactly as it really is, and tried to make the viewer feel as if they were actually witnessing Mr. Smith's speech in real life. We wanted to give a real feel of the big city to those who maybe do not live near one and see how it compares to the life back home. We gave them this comparison through Mr. Smith's hometown in Washington.
Okay. And what about the lighting of the film? What do you have to say about that?
Okay.
Well, I've been hearing recently that some studios have been dabbing with the use of color in their film, but I thought it would delay the production of the film, so I just kept it in black and white. And to tell you the truth, I feel as though black and white coloration really helped us set the mood of the film. I found it really helped expressing the dreariness of the politics in the country today and the suppression of the color and creativity ideas behind politics.
Okay. So, hold on a second, boys. Let me take my sunglasses off. It's a little hard to read, you know. Okay. So, tell me, did these images in the movie remind you of anything else?
Well, first and foremost, they remind me of the political situation unfolding right in front of our eyes in this country. After seeing this movie, people still do not believe it is true and that America is strong for such occurrences. But I tell you it is true. Many of our politicians are complacent and do little to nothing anymore. Meanwhile, others take advantage of our government's complacency and are making unstoppable machines, much like the ones seen in this movie. I mean, no wonder this film has been banned in all the countries out there.
Okay, cool your jets, Frank.
Sorry, forgive me, Bull.
Alright, it's okay. It's okay, you know? We love people who come and reconcile to us, okay? You reconcile, we forgive you, okay? So, Frank, thank you for your time. You can stay up here. I'm gonna bring out our two stars of the movie. They're great young people. Love them with all my heart, and so here they are. Folks, give it up for Jimmy Stewart and Gene Arthur. Woo! Alright.
Thank you.
Yeah, alright. Okay. Alright. Sorry guys, I was just greasing up my hair so my hand's a little sticky. No, okay. Whew. Okay. Gene, since you're looking incredibly beautiful today, and you look up to date on your fashion, I mean, that is some nice clothing you're wearing.
Thank you.
I love it. I'll ask you this group of questions.
Okay, Walter, it's great to be here. Now, fire away.
Oh, Gene, you flatter me. I think the crowd will agree that it's just great to be here in your presence.
Woo! Ow!
Yeah.
Call
yeah, you know
me.
what's up? Yeah. All right.
Tom Boyle.
Okay, Tom Boyle. Enough of my flirtatious ways with the ladies, you know. So Gene, tell me, what makes the costumes in this film so amazingly interesting?
Well, the film is in black and white, so you can't really see how extravagant some of the costumes were.
Okay.
From my first-hand experience, let me tell you that everybody dressed like we were going to a mass that was being preached by the Pope.
Damn.
I mean, all politicians, everybody who was part of the scenes in Washington were dressed in the most highly priced suits.
Okay.
I had a women's suit, and even Jimmy's fedora was very high-end, priced. I mean, that's the very high-end costumes that really, the viewers could really see the difference from where Mr. Smith started in the film to where he ended up being easy to tell. You can see that Mr. Smith is just your average guy, not just because of his humble ways and speech, but also through his humble clothes. He's wearing nothing that is really eye-popping except for a hat.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you can tell that Payne and the other men, especially like the senators and such, being in the movie, and And then in the rest of Washington are important people because of their upscale attire.
Upscale.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the costuming, what exactly does it say about the characters?
Well, as I just said, the high-priced upscale suits tell the audience that the character wearing it is upper class and of high importance in society. The average Joe clothes were by Mr. Smith, being in the movie and through most of the film, tell the audience just how average your small town guy, and the audience can clearly see that he rose to his level of importance through his clothes and how formal he is when he goes off to Washington.
Okay. Thank you, Gene. Folks, applause, please.
Woo! Ow!
Okay.
Saunders! Ow!
Okay. Folks, come on.
Woo!
Keep it in the pants.
I want you, Walter!
Alright. Thank you. I'll sign autographs later. Okay, so, Jimmy, it's your turn on the hot seat now. Haha. Right, okay.
Ha!
Alright, Walt, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Alright. So, okay now, folks. These questions, I'm gonna warn you, it might only make sense to the most rhetorical in our audience. So, fasten your seatbelts.
Click.
Were they back?
Click,
yeah, it was
clack.
back then.
We're going in the fast lane. Thank you.
Woo!
Okay. Alright. So, Jimmy, what are the word choices and speech patterns used by your specific character in this film?
This one's a piece of cake, Walt. Everybody who watched the film knows that Mr. Smith is a very humble and shy guy in his heart.
Sorry,
With the film, I had to include a little bit of a stutter and reverse tone in my voice to really pull this act off in the early scenes of the movie.
Okay.
This really shows that Mr. Smith is a small-town, reserved guy.
Okay.
Even in the early scenes in Washington and in the Senate, I still keep this voice to my character to really show Mr. Smith's original reverence to Washington and the politicians in general. It showed that he originally felt as if he truly had no business being in Senate.
Okay.
I also show his small town roots through the use of a little hint of a country accent and also phrases like by golly and oh geez.
It was Gee Whiz.
Throughout the movie, you will not find Mr. Smith using any sort of sophisticated language, and it is overall very nice. He can relate the political scene to any small-town American. He stumbles all over his words while talking to Mr. Payne, but he has no problem at all talking to Saunders.
Alright. Let me see here. Alright. So, how does his speech change? Let me rephrase this. How is his speech different later in the movie?
Well, later in the movie, it is obvious that Mr. Smith has gained an amazing amount of confidence in himself. He shows this through losing his stutter in his voice and not speaking shyly and easy to interrupt, but speaking aggressively but respectfully and not letting people interrupt him.
Okay.
He shows this ultimate confidence through his long speech, validating his bill in speaking out against the machine.
Okay. And how about the other characters? What were some of their speech patterns?
Oh, well, I can answer that, Jimmy. My character Saunders has a
no hate speech.
it's a very world-weary type of speech pattern. She was sick of her job and often complained about her situation. She also had a great amount of sarcasm throughout the film,
Okay.
and you know, things like that. But especially towards politicians.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing Mr. Smith.
Okay.
She would talk to him as if he was a little child,
Okay.
and would tease him a lot.
Okay.
When her and Mr. Smith, right, started to work together, though, it was a relationship of mutual respect, and they became good friends.
Yeah, I agree.
They held nothing back from each other,
Uh-huh.
and they became like best of friends.
Yeah.
This showed
Okay.
how like they became BFFs, and because Saunders started becoming more driven.
Yeah.
Like actually enjoyed what she was doing and like seemed to care.
Yeah. Sounds just dandy. So, now since all three of you, well, Frank's not here yet, but when he gets here, since all of you are here, I have a few questions that any of you can answer. So, here we go. First question. Are flat and round characters involved in this film?
Yes, definitely. I think my character is probably the best example of a round character. He changes constantly in a huge amount throughout the entirety of the film.
Okay.
He goes from a shy and humble, small-town guy to
Okay.
being a courageous and outgoing politician for the people.
Nice. G, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think Saunders is definitely also a round character. She goes from hating her job and just being tired of all of it to wanting to get away, to being more helpful and outgoing. And she's the single biggest reason Mr. Smith was able to push his bill and win in the Senate.
Okay, folks, and now with us, we just got word that back with us is our boy, Frank Capra. Here he is. Frank, would you like to get included in the discussion?
I would love to, Walter.
Okay.
I think that all the members of the political machine would be considered flat characters, because throughout the film, they do not change their story or their motives or themselves. Even as Smith builds an argument against them, they just try brute force to destroy him.
Okay, guys, and can you tell me, was there any other rhetorical devices used in this particular movie?
I think dialect is an integral part of the movie and making the story seem realistic. You can tell that Mr. Smith is from a small town when he uses phrases such as by golly and oh geez. And he also just seems to have that country twinge in his voice.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the politicians and Saunders have very sophisticated language, which makes them identifiable with upper class and big city.
And I think what you just said also goes along with speech pattern, including the previously mentioned speech patterns of Mr. Smith and also the speech patterns of Saunders, which could be very sarcastic, but very confident and helpful later on in the film, with a sense of worth.
And I also had a little bit of comic relief added just to lighten things up. I'm a very comic person. There was a sequence when Smith got lost in Washington and everybody is running about trying to find him. And then, again, in the newspaper interviews, he is doing the Boy Rangers shenanigans. I love those shenanigans. Yeah, thanks for the chuckles.
Woo! Shenanigans!
Gene, don't you want to say something now?
Oh, I do. There's also a little sense of romance towards the end between Mr. Smith and Saunders
Whoop, whoop.
at the end of the film.
And if I could add just one thing, Walter, it would be that this dialogue in this film is exceptional. The man who made this was an absolute genius. Jimmy, that speech at the end, just perfect and fabulously done. And Gene, your chemistry with Jimmy, amazing.
Thank you.
Alright, folks, we're running short on time. Thank you for your great listening today. So we're going to wrap it up here. Real quick, Frank, what do you think the future is for these types of films? Munch.
I hope that after watching this film, people feel that if there's something wrong with their government, they should stand up like Mr. Smith to them and do something about it.
Alright, folks. Guys, thank you for coming. You can all get your get out of here, go on to your next things.
Off the top.
Alright. See ya, Jimmy. There's Jimmy Stewart. Alright, folks. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next week as we examine the classic movie, Wuthering Heights. Watch out for Hitchcock. Thanks for watching and stay classy, San Diego.